Most families are busy, but they're not aligned. You're working 50 hours a week. Your spouse is working 50 hours a week. You're both managing a household that feels more like a logistics operation than a home. The kids are shuffling between soccer, piano, and tutoring. Your bills are getting paid. Homework is getting done. Everyone's calendar is color coded and jam packed. But yet, it feels like you're all running in completely different directions. That's not just exhausting, it's unsustainable. Here's what I've learned the hard way: if your family doesn't have a clear mission, life will assign you one by default. And trust me, you will not like what it chooses. The default mission is survival, reaction, putting out fires, managing chaos. But today, we're building something different. We're creating a family mission statement, a framework that keeps everyone unified, resilient, and moving toward what actually matters. This isn't motivational fluff. This is structural foundation. This is how you turn a collection of individuals into a high trust, high functional team. And no, this isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about making sure everyone's pulling in the same direction. So you stop wasting energy on friction and start building momentum towards meaning. Hello, my name is Michael Lockmiller. This is Fulfillment Frameworks. Let's get building. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, genuinely. As I said, my name is Michael Lockmiller. I'm a husband and a father, just like many of you listening. 5 kids at home, a wife that I absolutely adore, and a life that's been anything but simple. Over the last decade, I've had to discover through trial, through faith, and through failure a set of frameworks for living that actually works. Frameworks that provide for my family, give my life meaning, and keep me from burning out. See, a few years ago, my wife and I took our family overseas on mission work where we learned what alignment, simplicity, and purpose really mean. That experience in rebuilding our life from scratch after coming home taught me that fulfillment is not something you find, it's something that you build. My big aim is simple. I want to help you design a fulfilled life that doesn't leave you ragged, burnt out, or sacrificing the very people you're working for. And that's what this podcast is all about. Each week on Fulfillment Frameworks, we unpack the systems, stories, and principles that make life work so you can build a life that you do not need or want to escape from. Because here's the tragic paradox: most of us are working ourselves to death for the people that we never get to see. We're building financial security while eroding relational intimacy. We're providing everything except for presence. And that ends here. That ends now. So, a little bit of a recap in case you missed the last episode. In episode 1, we established the principle of first things. We asked the foundational questions: what truly comes first in your life? Not just what you say, but what you do. Your actions will speak louder than words. What kind of life do you actually want? Is it the one you have, part of one you have, or completely different than the one that you have? And what's the gap between where you are and where do you want to be? And then how do we bridge that gap? That was foundation work. Crucial foundational work. You can't build a meaningful life if you don't know what meaning looks like to you. I mean, it sounds kind of obvious, but how many people stop to take a breath, smell the roses, as it were, and think about that? But today, we're taking the next critical step. We're going to transform those first things into something your entire family can rally around: a family mission statement. This becomes the backbone of every other framework we'll discuss in this series because it's the compass that points everyone in the same direction. It's what prevents your family from becoming another collection of individuals just simply living under the same roof, each being pulled by different priorities in different directions and each building their separate lives. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it probably never will. And what the compass does is it gets, because you're all pulling in the same direction, if you start to get off the path a little bit, it helps to realign everybody and keep you going in the same direction. Because without this, every other system we build will eventually collapse under the weight of competing agendas. And with this, as I said, you will create alignment, unity, shared identity. You move from managing people to leading team. And that may sound weird when talking about a family, but for my engineering brain and my business background, it just seems to make sense. Any group of people is a team. Your family is a group of people. Therefore, you're a team. So lead your team. And so now we're going to talk about why most families drift and what a real mission statement looks like and how to build yours step by step this week. So let's get brutally honest about what happens to families without a clear mission. Most families operate in pure reaction mode. Work demand pulls dad one way, then pulls mom another way. School activities pull you further apart as you're running around to get the kids where they need to go. Social media and peer pressure pull the kids in 12,000 different directions at the same time. Everybody's busy, but nobody's aligned. The results, your calendars are packed, but they feel empty. Stressed parents who can't find out why they're stressed. Kids who feel disconnected from family identity. And marriages where spouses become logistics coordinators instead of life partners. And I'll say that one again because that one's very important. Marriages where spouses become logistics coordinators instead of life partners. I've watched this pattern destroy families that looked successful from the outside. They had the income, they had the house, they had the sports teams, they had the vacations, the boats, the whatever, the activities, but they didn't have the most important part, each other. Here's the deeper problem. Without a shared mission, every opportunity feels equally urgent. Your kid gets invited to travel soccer. Okay, cool. But that's a 9-month commitment, tournaments every weekend, and potentially thousands of dollars. Is it worth it? Well, without mission clarity, you don't know. So you either say yes to everything and burn out, or you say no to everything and feel guilty, or you're picking and choosing and having fights every other day because your decisions seem willy nilly. There's no filter, there's no framework for decision making. Every choice becomes a negotiation from scratch. Your spouse wants to take a job opportunity in another city. Do you move? Well, without mission, it's just pros and cons lists and spreadsheets. You can't see the bigger picture because you don't have one. Your teenager wants to quit piano after 6 years of lessons. Well, do you let them? Without mission, it's just a battle of wills. You're either the dictator or the pushover, and or somebody gets blown about by the wind, and none of that feels good. But here's what changes everything. When your family has a clear shared mission, decisions become dramatically easier. You have criteria. You know what is us and what isn't. You can say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. And the best part, everyone understands why. Mission doesn't just reduce stress, it creates genuine unity. Instead of managing competing individual agendas, you're building towards something together. Instead of constant negotiation, you have shared standards. Instead of 5 people living separate lives under one roof, you have a team all working for the same direction and the same goal. And speaking of teams, funny thing about teams, teams outperform individuals every single time. So you may be wondering, what is a family mission statement? Good question. See, it's not just corporate jargon that's applied to home life. That's what probably a lot of you thought when you hear family mission statement for the first time. It's not a fancy plaque that sits up on your wall, gathering dust while your actual life happens somewhere else. Okay. A family mission statement is a practical framework that answers 3 essential questions. First one, who are we? Your core values as a family. Where are we going? Your shared vision as a family. And 3, how do we live? Your daily behaviors. Think of it as your family's constitution of sorts. It's the standard you measure decisions against. It's what you return to during conflict. It's what guides you when life gets complicated. And trust me, life will get complicated. Again, let me be clear. This isn't about perfection. Your family won't live up to your mission statement every single day. You'll mess up. Your kids will mess up. You'll have weeks where everything falls apart. But that's not the point. The point is direction. The point is having that North Star. When everything else feels chaotic, the point is knowing what you're building towards, even when you're tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed. It's also not about creating something that sounds impressive to other people. This is for you. This is for your kitchen table, not your Instagram feed. The most powerful mission statements I've seen are surprisingly simple, and here are a few of them. Love God, love people, never quit. Or, we are learners, we are givers, we are faithful. Another one, faith first, family always, excellence in everything. And that is the one that my family's mission statement is based off of. Last one, adventure, service, and deep roots. Notice these aren't perfect, but they're clear, they're memorable, and they're actionable. You don't need flowery language. You don't need a mission statement that sounds like it came from a Fortune 500 boardroom. You need something that your 10-year-old can understand and repeat. Because here's the magic: your mission statement becomes a lens through which you evaluate everything: job opportunities, where to live, how to spend your money, what activities to pursue, how to handle conflict, what values to instill in your children, how to spend your weekends. And that's just a few. Without this lens, you're making every decision in isolation. With it, you're building something coherent and intentional. You're not just surviving, you're architecting, you're planning, you have intention. And that shift from reaction to intentionality is everything. So let me share some real examples of how this works in practice. Example one, we build people up. I know a family whose mission is simply we build people up. That's it. 4 words, 4 simple words. But watch how it shapes their life. When their teenager wanted to quit piano lessons after 6 years, instead of just saying yes or no, they asked, will quitting build you up or tear you down? The conversation shifted from conflict to coaching. They talked about discipline, about finishing what you start, and the difference between quitting something that's hard versus quitting because it's not good for you. It's not serving you. So the result, the kids stayed with piano, built discipline, gained confidence, and later thanked them for holding the line. That's the power of mission. It turns parenting from an arbitrary rule enforcement into value based coaching. And who doesn't want more of that? Example two, adventure, service, and deep roots. Another family I know lives by this motto: adventure, service, and deep roots. When the dad got a job offer across the country, big raise, big title, they didn't just look at salary and benefits. They asked, will this move serve our mission? They realized the new city had amazing hiking. Well, that satisfies adventure, and incredible volunteer opportunities. Well, that plays into service, but it would pull them very far away from grandparents, cousins, lifelong friends, their deep roots. So they decided to turn it down. And here's the thing: they didn't feel guilty about it. They didn't second guess themselves because the mission was clear. They knew who they were and what mattered. The decision was difficult, but it was also obvious. However, 6 months later, the dad found a different opportunity, one that was closer to home that served all three of their mission pillars. They moved just 30 minutes down the road instead of all the way across the country. They got the same growth, but better alignment. And now, example three, my family. And this is the one that we have in works. So for my family, especially after our mission work overseas, our statement centers around faith first, family always, and building systems that serve us instead of enslaving us. And for the kids, we just simplify it for faith first, family always, and building systems. That third piece is what's crucial for us. It's why this podcast exists. We refuse to build a life that requires us to sacrifice our first things to maintain it. That clarity has shaped our decision to come back to the States, how we're choosing our new house, how we're structuring our work, how we're setting up our kids' education, and what opportunities we say yes to and which ones we turn down. Every major decision filters through that mission. Your mission doesn't have to sound polished or professional. I mean, ours certainly doesn't, and ours doesn't work. It might change in a few months. That's okay. The point is that it just has to mean something real to your family. It has to be true enough that you're willing to make hard decisions based off of it. And if you find it's not working for you, then come up with a new one, because that's the test. If your mission doesn't change your behavior, it's not a mission. It's just words on a wall. and that doesn't serve anyone. All right. Now that we've gone all over that, given some examples, what happens if we don't have a mission statement and why we should have one, let's work on actually how to build one. So we're going to get practical now. And here's the rough step by step process that we use to build out our family mission statement and that you can use to build out your family mission statement. All right. Step one, schedule a family meeting. Put it on the calendar, make it official. Treat it just like you would an important work meeting, because really, this is probably the most important work meeting that you'll have until it's done. This is strategic planning for your most important organization, your family. If your kids are older, say 10 and up, 9 and up, it's your family, your choice. All right. Biggest thing about these frameworks is it's all about you thinking the right way to help you decide what is good for you and your family. You know, for us, we have a 9-year old. So the 9 and 10-year old will participate. The 7 and 5 and 3-year old, obviously, probably a little distracted, not understanding. So they're not going to participate. So again, if your kids are older, 9, 10 up, you make that call. Okay. Include them in this conversation, because I'll tell you this from personal experience as a kid growing up and nobody listening to or caring about their input, and then being in workplaces, when regardless if it's kids or adults, when you involve other people in decision making processes, they feel like they have some ownership, they have some buy-in, which does something pretty incredible. It actually helps them follow through on the thing that you want them to do. And so, as just a quick example and a little aside, when we ask our kids, okay, well, how we're all a family, we're going to work together, we're going to serve one another. Well, what's some ways you can do it? Well, my oldest daughter was like, well, I can help mom with laundry or dishes. And my oldest son's like, well, I can take out the trash. Well, now it's much easier to get them to do that. Instead of us saying, this is your job, they volunteered for it. Now we just have to remind them, hey, it's time to do this thing. And they, okay. And they go and do it. So that's what I'm talking about ownership and buy in. And this cannot be more important to get their ownership and buy in for. So if they're younger than that, just start with you and your spouse. But if you have those older kids, then pull them in too. All right. And as I said, you can adapt it for the little kids so they can understand it, make it more simple, cut out some words like we did. But you need to block off like 30 minutes to an hour. All right. Turn off phones, turn off TVs, turn off game systems, everything. Sit down together, make it feel important, because it really is important. Let's not be flippant about it. Okay. I'm especially talking to you dads, because as a dad, I believe we should be the main leaders of our family. So let's set an example for our family. Step 2, ask the core questions. Write these down, go slow. This isn't a brainstorm, it's an excavation. It's an unearthing, kind of like you're an archaeologist, but for the living. So here's the questions. Question 1, what do we value most? Not what you think you should value, not what sounds impressive. What do you actually value? What makes you proud to be part of this family? What do you protect at all costs? What would you be devastated to lose? Question 2, what do we want to be known for? If your neighbors describe your family, what would you want them to say about you? What about your kids' teachers or your extended family or the families from your kids' sports teams? When your children grow up and describe their childhood, what do you want them to say about this family? Question 3, how do we want to treat each other and others outside of our family? When conflict comes, and oh, buddy, will it come? How do we want to handle it? What does love look like in our family? What does respect look like? What does forgiveness look like? How do we show up when life is hard? When someone fails or when someone succeeds? Those are all important questions to ask. So take your time, give people space, give space for those questions to breathe and people to think. Okay. Now, step 3. I know we went question 3. Now, step 3. All right. You've got to write, we're going to look for themes. So you've got to write everything down, record it, audio, if that's better for you. Just somehow record it, write it down, audio, something, but don't edit it. Just capture it. All right. Don't let your biases or anything do some pre filtering. Just capture, the raw, unfiltered answers. Get it all out. Then look for patterns. All right. What words keep coming up? What values appear in different forms? Circle the repeated themes. If you're having problems, a little trick or anybody can use, go on to ChatGPT or on the other, AI bots with their free services and just load up what was written down and then just ask it, hey, what are some repeated themes? What are repeated values? What are things that are coming up, patterns that you can see? Sometimes you're not good at making patterns, not making patterns, at reading patterns and seeing them. So that's okay. The AI bots are really good at that. You may not like AI bots, but this is a pretty good use for them. So, for some examples, if loyalty shows up 5 times in different ways, that's probably a core value. If growth or learning keeps appearing, that matters. If faith or service or adventure keeps surfacing, pay attention. And they don't have to be those, exact words. They could be similar words, or especially with kids who may not know how to articulate well what they're thinking and feeling, they can talk around those words, and as the parents, we can distill that down to what they're meaning. But again, just get it all out there, keep it raw, don't filter it, don't edit it. All right. Now you're going to draft your statement. That's step 4. We're going to create 2 to 4 sentences or bullet points. Keep it short enough to remember. All right. This isn't some dissertation, it's a compass. Compass, if I can speak clearly. Also got to work on that. If your kids can't memorize it, it's just too long. All right. Try a few versions, read them out loud, see what feels true, see what feels like you, like your family. Again, don't aim for perfect, aim for clarity. And then number 5, step 5, make it visible. Put it on your refrigerator, frame it, save it on your phones, print it on a card and put it in your wallet, because mission only works if it's accessible. You should see it regularly, reference it often, come back to it in real decisions. And what we do is we have some values that we've distilled from our mission statement. So we have both of those. My wife's pretty artistic. She's got a bit of a canvas, frameless thing. I don't know what it is. I'm not artistic. I don't do paintings and stuff. But anyways, so she's put it up on these canvases, and we put it on our walls near our uh, dining table in our kitchen, because we know at least 3 times a day we're all going to be around that table and we can all reference it. It's within sight. We do homeschooling. It's within sight of where the kids do homeschooling. So if my wife needs to reference it, she can just point over there. And so we see it all the time when we wake up, when we're living, when we sit down, when we eat, and when we're going to bed. We see it all the time. Okay. Because mission only works if it's accessible. All right. We got to see it regularly. Step 6, we live with it and refine it. As I said before, give it a few weeks. See how it feels in real situations. Does it guide decisions? Does it feel true? Does it help resolve conflicts? Does it clarify priorities? If something feels off, adjust it. Again, I'm not some, super expert guru guy who's like, you have to do XYZ. Like, this is for you and your family. So if whatever you've laid out isn't working, just tweak it. Nobody's going to know. Nobody else is going to care. It's for you and your family, not your Instagram feed. Remember that. This is just version 1.0. It's not the final version. And likely there never will be. All right. So you'll refine this over time as your family grows and changes. If you have little kids like me, it is definitely going to grow when they become teenagers. When those teenagers leave the house, probably going to change again. And that's fine. But just as long as the period of time that your family's in, the season, whatever you want to call it, it works for that, that's fine. And then as your family changes and grows, refine it, change it to suit your needs. But remember, this process isn't about creating perfect words. It's about starting the conversation and agreeing on direction. The power is in the beginning, not in perfection. All right. The families that win are the ones that start messy, but they refine as they go. The families that lose are the ones that wait for perfect conditions that never ever come. Because, as we all know, life is not perfect. And for those who share a similar faith foundation as I do, this connects directly to Deuteronomy 6. These words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit down in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. Now, obviously, what we're building here is not equal to Holy Scripture, and I'm not saying it is. But just as we're told to have Scripture always before us. That's what that whole section about. Like literally, you need to put it up everywhere so that you're always reminded of Scripture, of the good things in life, of what you're aiming for. And the family mission statement, this is where it relates. It's no different. Like for us, our family mission statement actually derives somewhat from Scripture, and so we want that to always be there. It's no different than anybody that's been in the corporate space. You see all these posters up. Why are they doing that? People put up the values and things they want to instruct and instill in people so that as they see it day after day after day, it sinks in and it becomes part of who they are. And that's what we want to do with our family mission statement. All right. We're going to write the truths into the fabric of our home and we're going to put it everywhere. And it's going to be a reminder so we'll never forget. This creates a culture for your kids, one that they will absorb, remember, and carry forward. It may even help you change your behaviors, create culture for you and your spouse. All right. It becomes part of your identity and it becomes part of your family's identity. Without intentional mission, the world's values will just simply fill the vacuum by default. That's why I stress the importance to you, dads out there, to take the lead, to set an example for your family. Your kids will absorb whatever's loudest, whatever's most persistent, whatever's most entertaining. TikTok will teach them, YouTube will teach them, their peers will teach them, the world will teach them. But with clear mission, you're actively building legacy. No, legacy doesn't have to be this thing that millionaires and billionaires have, and blah blah blah, and leaving this, that, and the other, and business, and all this stuff that you may think of legacy. All right, legacy is just simply what you leave behind. So whether you're a ditch digger or in the corporate world or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're building legacy because you're building something that's going to be left behind. So let's make sure we're building a great legacy. You're giving your children an identity that transcends circumstances, a foundation that will serve them long after they leave your house, a framework that they will then pass on to their own children. And this isn't about control at all. It's about clarity. It's about giving them, your family, deep roots that are deep enough to weather any storm, any sort of dry season, anything like that. And it's about giving them wings that are strong enough to soar when the time comes. And that legacy, that's what fulfillment actually looks like. So, for our assignment for this week, day one, all right, schedule that 30 to 60-minute family meeting. Put it on the calendar now and don't wait for the perfect time because the perfect time doesn't exist. All right, as soon as that's done, maybe it's day 2 or 3, ask yourself the 3 questions individually first. What do we value? What do we want to be known for? And how do we want to live? Because you need to come to this meeting prepared so that your family knows that this is serious and you're being intentional about it. And they need to also take it seriously. So then after that, hold the family meeting, ask the questions together, capture absolutely everything without judgment because no idea is too small and no value is too simple. Next, whether it's directly after the meeting or maybe next day as you let things sit and think about them, look for themes, draft your first version, keep it simple, keep it memorable. Remember, 2 to 4 sentences, or bullet points. Try them out at dinner or at lunch or something to see how your family thinks about it. All right. So once you've got that first version nailed down, put it somewhere visible and start living with it. Put it on your phone, put it near your table, put it in your office, wherever. But keep it visible so that you and your family can start living with it. Reference it in real decisions and test it against real life. And don't be afraid to change it. All right. This isn't just some overnight thing like we've talked about last episode. It's not going to happen immediately. It's going to take some time. And it's going to take you being intentional. Okay. But most important, just start. Just take action. All right, your family can't wait. Your fulfilled life that's waiting for you on the other side. It's on the other side of you taking action. So do it. All right, just be like Nike. Just do it. All right, the goal here is progress, not perfection. Just start the conversation. Just establish the direction. You can always refine it later. Just do it. The families that thrive are the ones that know who they are and where they're going. This week, you're going to become one of those families. All right. So that wraps us up. All right. That is episode 2 of Fulfillment Frameworks, your blueprint for life without burnout. Today, we discover why families drift without mission, what a family mission statement really is, and how to build one step by step. And your assignment: schedule that meeting, ask the questions, and draft your first version. Remember, version 1.0 is better than version perfect because version perfect never happens. And next week, we're going to be diving into time frameworks, how to reclaim, 5, 10, or more hours per week without hustling harder. This is where theory really meets reality, where mission meets practical daily life. So, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this episode with your spouse. This works best when you're both bought in together. But before you go, some 3 quick resources for you. Down in the show notes, you'll see a link to take the fulfillment assessment. Okay, it'll show you exactly where you're strong and where you're leaking energy. Next, you can grab the fulfillment planner. It's a daily tool that keeps mission front and center. And then lastly, a link to our Discord community where we have real conversations and real people that are building real frameworks for life. So if you need some help, you're stuck somewhere, come join the Discord and there'll be somebody, especially myself, in there that can help you out. And remember our core principle: it's not about doing more, it's about building the right frameworks, about doing what matters. And when you consistently do that, you create a deeply fulfilling life without burnout. I'm Michael Lochmiller. Thank you for building with me, and we'll see you in episode 3. Bye bye.